Hey everyone, it's me, your favorite influencer, back with Marc, who works here at the White House.
Well, welcome to the White House, Kate. It's so great to have you here. And please, just ignore those gunshots. We're taking care of a few dissidents right now, but nothing for you to worry about.
Of course, but how do you make time to run with such a busy schedule?
Well, I like to think we're running all the time here at the White House, you know? Running the deportation camps, running the economy into the ground. It's truly always full speed ahead.
That totally makes sense. Now how about that tour?
Of course, let me show you around.
Hey! How many miles are you running today?
No miles because we're at the beautiful White House, but why don't I give you a tour?
Let's do it.
Can I admit something real quick? I did not know that running influencer was a thing. I knew about influencers, I knew about running. I did not know there was such a thing as a running influencer. I mean, it seems like an oxymoron. What can you really sell as a person who walks quickly for a living? How many pairs of Hokas and Vaseline could you possibly push on your audience? And what are you running from? Your kids? Your responsibilities? The finality of life? Doesn't make sense to me. But I digress. While cardio tops my list of enemies, dumb influencers being dumb would be a close second. Which brings us to what we've got today, the curious case of Kate Max, an influencer slash TikToker whose whole shtick is interviewing people while they run around New York City together. And the interviewees are almost always like social media people, other influencers, creatives, that kind of thing. Not a bad interview format. It's original, I like it. Almost impossible to mess this up. I mean, all you have to do is just keep running, don't interview any fascists, and you've basically got an infinite money glitch. Not that hard, right? No, apparently it is too hard, because last week she decided to switch it up and come to DC to do an interview with White House press secretary and lady asking to see the manager, Caroline Leavitt. And people, and I'm saying this in the most diplomatic way possible, are not happy about it.
Nobody gaff. Nobody gives a gaff about Caroline Leavitt's whack-ass morning routine. What? First of all, your whole platform is like, let's run together and you can talk and we can interview. This bitch ain't running. This hoe's walking around the White House being like, look, this is me and Trump, and look at him. This is my office.
Yeah. There's a lot of angry voices out there on this one, and we're gonna unpack it together, because that's what I do. I unpack things. But before we get into that, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Coupert. Things are getting expensive, and Coupert is here to help save you money with a free browser extension that helps you effortlessly save while shopping online. It's supported by all the major browsers and already has more than 9 million users, saving every week. And with over 200,000 merchants supported globally, including Macy's, Walmart, Sephora, and much more, Coupert is the ultimate tool for smarter, more efficient shopping. Once you install Coupert and create an account, you're ready to get started. Go to your favorite store and at checkout, click on the Coupert extension to instantly scan and apply the best available coupons, ensuring you get maximum savings with minimal effort. As you can see here, I'm literally saving money at the click of a button. But that's not all. Coupert also has a price comparison tool that helps you find the same items for less at a different merchant. Like for instance, these sweatpants that are going for $34.99 on Amazon were also available for $23.05 at Walmart. So that's almost $12 saved right there. And last but not least, Coupert has over 76,000 participating retailers offering cash back. As just one example, you can get up to 2.5% cash back at Sephora, paid out in 15 days, and which can be redeemed via gift card, PayPal, or to your bank card. I'll leave a link in the description where you can download Coupert. It's literally just money back in your pocket, so don't wait around any longer. Thanks again to Coupert. Now let's get back to the video. So before we get into the backlash, let me just pull out a couple snippets from this interview, if you can even call it that, and see what's going on.
A lot more intimate than I thought.
That's the initial reaction of everyone who comes in here. It's way smaller than you would imagine. We need to make it bigger so we can allow more voices in.
Alright, so right out of the gate, let's make the briefing room bigger to allow more voices in, says the woman who illegally banned the AP News from coming in because they refused to say Gulf of America. We want more voices in, says Caroline, as long as those voices are as bat insane as I am. Because lest anyone forgets, instead of doing briefings with real journalists from time to time, Caroline also does sham briefing circle jerks with MAGA influencers, where they just fawn over Trump and deportations in one of the most egregious wastes of taxpayer money I've ever seen in my life.
This is our first official influencer briefing here at the White House. And I'm happy to take your question first, Erin.
So much, Caroline, both for having us and for granting me the first question here.
Sure.
And I can attest to the deportations in Florida. My Uber drivers finally speak English again, so thank you for that.
We're so cooked. We're so cooked, but whatever. But yeah, the White House does fake press briefings with great characters such as MAGA Malfoy, which seems redundant, honestly, because we all know who Draco Malfoy would have voted for. But I respect it, honestly. This is smart. I mean, why would you take questions from actual journalists when you can just take questions from frothing at the mouth fascist lunatics? Apparently, bringing new voices in means just including the voices that already agree with us, but I'm sure Kate is gonna call her on that, so go ahead, Kate.
What do you do for preparation before walking into this room?
I pray to God before every briefing. It's a moment to just ground myself and level set.
Yes. She throws up a prayer every time she walks into the briefing room. And honestly, how is it not easy to see the guiding hand of Christ in every one of her hour-long diatribes about how Donald Trump is a god emperor who must never be questioned?
I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. You're asking me for what the president's justification is for these tariffs. It's not up to you. You're not the president, Gabe.
The effect on the environment is really...
Oh my God. So I spoke with Trump yesterday. He loves the ocean. I love the ocean. My husband and I went to Sandals, Jamaica. I'm never taking a question from you again.
Can you just respond to that?
So I can get you some more details from our policy team, but I'm not going to do that because I'm bored and I hate you. Next question.
This is your chance, Kate. Ask her a question that isn't stupid.
And then this is a meme that I love. It's a man pointing at a brain and it says, "No thanks, I won't be needing that because I believe everything the legacy media shows."
You started out as a White House intern during Trump's first term. What is it like now being back?
I literally love this so much. Literally, Caroline could be like, yeah, so here's a meme on my desk about how journalists are all cockroaches who need to be put up against the wall and shot. And Kate would be like, that's crazy. Why don't you tell me about your time as a White House intern? Kate, what are you doing? What are you doing?
This is the president's Tesla, which he so generously has told staff that we are allowed to drive if we wish to take it out. I haven't taken him up on the offer, but maybe I will soon.
If you guys see Caroline whipping around that red Tesla, you
know why.
Yes, it wouldn't be a Trump fluff piece without a obligatory ad read for Tesla. Thank you, Kate, for squeezing that one in there. Here at the White House, we love using our power to jail judges who we disagree with, but at the end of the day, nothing beats power like the power of the Tesla Model 3 available at a dealership near you. That's pretty much it, though. I mean, like, that's the entire interview. Incredibly ill-advised, but, you know, whatever works, at least she got her tour of the White House. But TikTok has responded in turn.
Hey, how many miles today?
No miles, but I'm gonna show you around beautiful hell today.
Awesome, let's go.
My name is Gorfang the Terrible. I am the press secretary for Satan. So right over there is where I usually chat with Satan every day and we make a plan about who we are going to torture and in what ways.
Alright, so to be fair, there are a few people who are defending this, saying, hey, you should be able to talk to both sides. And my counterpoint to that is actually you don't need to talk to both sides. Like, to the people defending this, we could literally be in 1864 and you could be like, oh, so it's okay to do an interview with Abraham Lincoln, but not one with Jefferson Davis? Yes, correct. That is exactly correct. Or again, you could just not do an interview with either. Kate could have just kept doing her thing, running, doing her interviews with random people, not going to talk to people who are actively lying to the American people while engaging in doing things like, I don't know, tearing up due process, freedom of speech, the rule of law, jailing judges, directing ICE raids on elementary schools, to name a few. Nobody asked her to go to the White House and do this.
Oh my God, hi, how many miles are you running today? So the president has actually been very clear on this matter that the national customary unit for long distances is no longer miles. We are moving on to Trumpometers because miles was implemented by radical leftists and by the Biden administration.
And I love this skit. This guy's really funny, but again, it doesn't even work because they didn't even run. Kate Max's whole thing is that she runs and asks people questions while they're running. But there wasn't even any running in this. It borders on the absurd. It's like watching Zone of Interest in real life right now. You are doing a White House tour with the propaganda minister of the Trump administration. Of course, people are gonna be like, dude, what are you doing? We need the split screen of the unconstitutional El Salvadorian detention camp next to a video of Kate Max asking Caroline Leavitt who was on her Spotify Wrapped. And it's not just a few malcontents pointing this out. The backlash has been more intense than Caroline Leavitt's makeup routine. On Spotify, Kate's podcast is down to a 1-star rating. She's hemorrhaging followers on TikTok. Even people who were previously interviewed by Kate are saying, take me down, like I do not want to be associated with that. And for the running community, aka Run Talk, this whole Kate Max situation is like 15 9/11s.
I'm sure most of you guys seen the video by now of Kate Max interviewing White House correspondent Carolyn Levitt at the White House. To me, this was just a slap in the face, and I believe just to be utterly disrespectful to the running community.
Yes, thank you, Trail Twink, because basically the entire running community has just excommunicated Kate Max. And I get it. At first I was like, how is running political? Like, running is awful, but it's not political. But then I thought, well, actually, you know, the outdoor space and who has rights to it and clean air and clean water, those are political issues. The water we drink, the air we breathe, there are layers of government that control that. So even if you only cared about running and not the other myriad of crimes this administration's committing, their plan to take Yosemite and turn it into a Walmart parking lot should be enough to piss you off. And if at this point in the video you're still like, I don't really see why this is a big deal, like, let's all just get along and be friends, you're an enlightened person, alright, I get that. But even if you want to look at this as purely a business decision, this was still the worst brand collaboration since Sour Patch Oreos. Because what did you expect was going to happen? I would imagine the demographics of Kate Max's audience are pretty similar to her, you know, predominantly middle class, upper middle class, women living in major cities, aka liberals. These are people who are running from the abortion clinic to a gay orgy, with maybe a stop at a non-binary Starbucks in between. These are not people who want to hear about how amazing it is working in the White House to undo like 40 years of social progress. And Kate took down and reposted her TikTok like 3 times, so clearly she saw the backlash and was torn about this. And part of this whole drama is that Kate still has her interview with Tim Walz pinned on her page, which she did back during the election, which again, not the same thing as this, because they were actually running for one, and he was running for office, and she asked him questions about what he would do if elected, you know, how he got into running, things that are relevant to her page and to the American people. If Kate wants to run with JD Vance and ask him why he killed the Pope, I'm down for that. Do that. That would be interesting. This sucks. Caroline didn't even run. It's like going on Hot Ones and not even eating any fucking wings. And in the aftermath of this, Tim Walz's daughter, Hope Walz, took to TikTok to tell Kate to fuck off. Diplomatically speaking, of course.
Sending people away without due process, villainizing minorities, all of those things are preventing people from getting into the running community, which is what I thought Kate's platform was for. But it's also just damaging to society as a whole. We should not be normalizing these people. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their page, but I think it's insulting to my dad to leave a certain video pinned, especially when he stands for quite literally the opposite of what this administration is doing. You don't get to both sides this. It's not both sides.
And again, the not so subtle Tesla plug did not go unnoticed.
But the thing that I can't stop thinking about was just that undisclosed Tesla ad, that last little bit, like right at the very end. Why would they even have that there? And it's for these exact opportunities. It's so some dumbass can take another dumbass on a tour around the White House and then point out the capitalist overlord who's taken over our country and try to get him back in the green on his stupid fucking company.
It's truly the cherry on top of this sandwich. So here's my flaming hot take, which is that this might be the dumbest move I've seen an influencer make in a while, and that's saying something. You want to bitch about cancel culture, you can have fun with that, but here in reality, actions have consequences. And by the way, it works both ways. If I was a gun influencer, or gunfluencer, which is a real thing, you best believe I would not be doing a softball interview with someone who wants to shred the Second Amendment. This is like Bambi doing an interview with a deer hunter. Why would you do that? Even putting aside what you personally believe. Being an influencer is a business. And so we have 2 possibilities here. Either Kate is so stupid that she genuinely thought nobody would care that she did this being a fluff piece interview with a D-list fascist, or she just genuinely believes in this administration. Now, if it's the first possibility, I have no sympathy for her. You're a professional bag fumbler at that point. You fumbled the bag so hard, you played yourself so hard, it's literally a skill issue at this point. Last week, you were doing Aveeno sponsored posts, telling everybody about how much they needed to go out and buy this body lotion. And this week, you're doing propaganda for a president who was probably loathed by like 90% of your audience. Conservatives don't run, Kate. They can't. They're afraid that if they get out of their car, they're gonna get shot by MS-13. They're at Walmart, riding around those mobility scooters, scowling at minorities in the Christmas decorations aisle. You're not going to be able to sell these people running shoes. They don't want to run. So you're really only left with the second possibility, which is that this was intentional. That she is saying, hey, I agree with Caroline Leavitt's worldview. Running is out. It's time for women to get back to the kitchen. Because let's not forget, and this is completely irrelevant, but I'm just shooting strays for no reason, Caroline Leavitt is a 27-year-old married to a guy 30 years older than her, which I don't personally have a problem with, but just remember, that's natural and acceptable, and gay marriage is against God. But so maybe this is part of a content shift. Kate is saying, I see the writing on the wall, society is changing, we're going backwards, and I need to get ahead of the curve. Because even though Kate has lost followers, she gained a bunch of new ones too. She now has a dedicated portion of her fan base of MAGA losers, and she can't go back to interviewing pansexual creative directors in New York City because her new fan base doesn't want to hear about the latest drama from the polycule. So maybe, just maybe, starting now, Kate Max is going to be doing a lot of content whispering into the microphone while baking bread, talking about how her greatest purpose in life is serving her husband. And if that happens, then I tip my hat to Kate Max. That would intrigue me. That I would respect. To be clear, just so we're on the record here, I will only respect her if she goes full trad wife, right-wing grifter. I need every video of hers from now on to start about how she gave up marathons for motherhood or some bullshit, because that would be the only thing that makes sense. And I would understand that because you can sell these morons anything. Go full Aryan family, start selling maybe aprons with like an American flag on it, maybe do a cookbook, and just remember not to think about the complete loss of individuality and personhood that you signed up for. But we'll have to wait and see if that one pans out. That's just my personal theory. Me just trying to rationalize this. But in the meantime, what we actually have is the equivalent of that apartment tour guy doing a tour of the Kremlin. When people said they want influencers to be more politically engaged, this is not what they meant. What are we gonna see next? Get ready with me to go deport a Guatemalan family of 4? This is why I am in the rare non-woke camp of actually I don't need influencers to be politically engaged. I don't want to know, I don't need to know what the running lady thinks about the war in Ukraine. I don't care. People talk about influencers being out of touch. I don't care. Leave me alone. Because I know they don't care if we live or die. They're at Erewhon drinking $20 smoothies. Kate is doing a sponsored post for Subway, which is closer to being an actual public transportation system than it is to serving edible food. But that's her job, selling stuff. I didn't need to know that Kate Max is comfortable with the eliminations of the First, Fourth, and 19th Amendments. I didn't need to know that. We could have just kept running without that information. Go do a normal brand trip instead. Go do the Tarte brand trip. Go to Dubai with some of the most vapid human beings I've ever seen in my life. That's fun, that's enjoyable. Don't do a brand trip to the White House. That is not a brand you want to be associated with. Now everybody is forced to internalize the information that you are 100% comfortable with their rights being trampled and also your own. Like seriously, you blew up your career for a White House tour. People are saying they think she got paid. They're saying she must have gotten paid. I don't think so. I think this was purely for the love of the game. Like Kate, I live in DC. You could have came to me. I could have taken you on a public tour of the White House. You could have left the building with your soul intact. You truly tore your audience in half for a fluff interview with Caroline Leavitt. You didn't even get one of like the cool fascists. If you had gotten Trump himself, I would have put more respect on it, all right? 5 minutes with the President of the United States. Fine, I get it. But you didn't get Trump. You got his publicist. You didn't even get Jafar. You got his annoying ass parrot. You played yourself for 5 minutes with a bench warmer, and it's embarrassing. I need you guys to hear me now, because there will come a day where I will sell my soul. There has to be a number. I don't know what the number is yet, but there's a number that I will come on here and lie to you to your face so that way I can live on a beach for the rest of my life. But to have your big sellout moment be a cringe TikTok with a glorified fascist saleswoman is embarrassing. Your big reward was being the hero of Fox News for a single news cycle. Congratulations. You're not good at selling your soul, Kate. I mean, do not sell anything on Facebook Marketplace because you don't know how to negotiate. Also, Kate has a podcast too, which she did a longer form interview with Caroline on, and it's just exactly what you would expect.
It could be more difficult, especially for conservatives like myself, to have that courage to voice your opinion when you're in the minority, but I always just had the courage. And
yes, thank you, Caroline, for your valiant defense of longtime conservative values like wanting to invade Greenland. But in the end, I truly don't know what the future holds for Kate Max, and I truly do not care. But that's all I got. I'll see you guys next week, where I'm going to be having on a longtime friend of the show, the communications director for Osama bin Laden.